In this video I will compare word inflections in Danish, English and German, and I will also talk about why Danish students and pupils are more likely to make mistakes when they're inflecting German verbs in present tense than they are inflecting verbs in present tense in English. And the reason why they are more likely to make mistakes inflecting verbs in Danish compared to in German compared to than inflecting verbs in English is twofold. One of the reasons is the fact that verbs in Danish in present tense, first, second and third person singular as well as plural are the same. I have here the inflection, the Danish inflection of the verb have. As you can see here, I have is jeg har, you have is du har. But here's the first difference and the only difference between the Danish and the English verb inflection. Han, hun, den, which I haven't written, is still har. In English we will change I have, you have to he, she, it has. But then again, we have, you have, I have, which is comparable to vi har, I har, du har. Now I will do the German inflections, and you will realize there is and you will realize that the difference in inflections between Danish and German is profound. Ich habe sounds like I have. Yeah, I had to change the keyboard layout to German to stop the spell checker from changing my words. Do, which is the same do as in Danish, but here you see the first difference. It is not du habe, it is du hast. Then you have the he, she, it, or RCS in German. There you have another inflection of the verb, and that is RCS hat. So that's 3 inflections. In Danish you have no inflections at all. Well, yeah, ha is a kind of an inflection, but it's the same inflection in all 3 persons, plural as well as singular. Wir haben, that's the 4th inflection. Ihr habt is the 5th inflection. But then you have sie in plural, and that's haben. So in German you have 5 times as many inflections you have to remember as you have in Danish, and nearly 3 times as many as you have in German, in English. And that's the main reason why we Danes tend to make mistakes when we are inflecting verbs in our everyday German language. We simply lack the inflecting verbs in German is for a Danes due to lack of practice, not autonomized. And when I, for example, speak German, if I have to concentrate on what I have to say, I very often, due to due to my short-term memory capacity, forget what I was going, how I started my sentence, and that means that I sometimes inflect the last verb in the wrong tense. Not in the wrong tense, but in the wrong person. So I could say something that like ish, and then something hat, because I forgot that I was in the first person. At the start of the sentence, my subject was the first person, but I'm inflecting the verb in the third person, for example. Now you can see all three inflections, the inflection in all three languages. And it's very, as the circle shows, here in Danish, you have the same inflection of have in all three persons, as well as in plural and singular. In English, you have the same inflection in first and second person singular, as well as first, second and third person plural. So a Dane only has to remember that you have to change third person singular from have to has. That's a lot easier to remember than it is to remember 5 different inflections in German, as well as remember when to use the different inflections. So, and even if a Dane doesn't know how to inflect have in English, he's still able to at least get it right 5 out of 6 times if he remembers that have is the most common inflection. In German, you have to remember, ich habe, du hast, it hat, wir haben, ihr habt. And that makes it much more difficult for Dane to remember the inflections in German. I will upload this video in a Danish version as well as a German version, and I hope you will find it useful. I do not expect you to listen to all 3 versions, but I hope that you can learn something about the differences between Danish, German and English from the videos I'm going to upload.